Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. Yeah. Let's see, this is fourth or fifth time I've had you on, but it's been at least a month since I talked to you about the whole peyote thing.
Yeah, since before my hair transplant. Your hair actually style looks similar to mine today.
It does. We look the same.
Yeah, that's great. I asked right before you hit record about your logo
Yeah.
behind you.
Yeah.
So tell me about it.
It's the flower of life behind the microphone, and of course the name of the podcast. The thinking of that was I remember being in the Maloka and looking up at the ceiling and seeing all the different symbols, all the ancient
Mm.
symbols throughout time. And I know Terrence Howard before on some different podcasts has always talked about the flower of life. And when I saw that on the ceiling at the Maloka, it just all kind of connected. So I felt like what better way to symbolize something special than to use the flower of life.
Yeah, that's cool. So is the flower of life, I'm not familiar with it. Is it basically circles that go in a circle?
Correct, correct.
Awesome.
And this is actually the longest term symbol in human existence is the flower of life. It's
Mm.
been since ancient tablets have always had it. There is some sort of technology that's hidden within the flower of life that Terrence Howard talks about. It has to do with not, there's no straight lines in nature, and the idea of energy is just a constant movement, and that energy has to continue to come around. It's not like energy just starts in one place and then goes straight down the line.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not a big expert on the flower of life, but I just know a little bit of it, and I think it looks beautiful, and I think it represents this entire show.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows where it's going to go? It's not going to go in a straight line, but it's going to go somewhere beautiful.
That's the idea. That's
It's
the idea.
great.
Yeah.
That's
What
awesome.
what else is new?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. Do you want to talk about anything in particular?
Just willing to go wherever we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still in Utah. We're about halfway through our stay here. We have decided that we're not going to stay after December 1st. We're building a house in Bali, so we're going to go out there and let our lease. We had a 6-month lease here. Just we're gonna figure out something else after this. We looked at a few houses here in Utah, and my wife still might want to get a house here, kind of pit stop while we travel.
Yeah.
Or I'm excited to go check out the energy of Bali again
Sure.
and just play it by ear, see how long we want to be there, see how long we want to travel and yeah, play it by ear, which scares my wife a lot. But but it is the next right step for us. We're gonna go to Hawaii and then Fiji, then Australia, then do a cruise through New Zealand, kind of for the month of December.
Cool.
And then hopefully by then our house will be finished, and then we'll just stay in Bali until we're done staying in Bali, which might be a month,
Okay.
might be longer, who knows?
And you're thinking that that's gonna be your residence?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. It's just more of like a
Because
getaway.
yeah, we lived there last year for 3 months, but
Okay.
the time zone was very difficult.
Sure.
Um, and some of the amenities like Costco and stuff, my wife really values. So it could evolve into a place if we find like really good community and we could, do calls and stuff in the mornings and evenings and come back to the States a couple times a year. But right now, it's not looking like the plan.
Okay.
But I'm a fan of plans with pivots
Right.
all day long. Like any plan I've ever made has had some pivot along the way. So that's what I expect.
So are is this the first time that you've ever kind of, when you said the wife was uncertain about kind of going with the punches, so to speak? Is this the first time in your life you're doing something like that where it's just kind of like, well, we'll see? Or have you always kind of operated that way?
I think this is the first time we haven't had something planned after Bali.
Okay.
You know, like we haven't the last 3 years when we traveled, we knew what Airbnbs we were going to stay at, and we knew when we were coming back home. You know, we knew what school we were going to enroll the kids in. I
Yeah.
guess in essence, this is the first time we're going without an endpoint in mind,
Yeah.
which is awesome for me
Right.
and very scary for Janalee, but that's I mean, there there's not a lot to be scared about with this. It's a very safe way to be spontaneous, I guess,
Yeah.
because we have a house that we can live in that's not going, it's not like a lease. Um, they're gonna lease to someone else or an Airbnb that's gonna get rented out to someone else or anything like that. We can go day by day, so it'll be
Do you
fine.
do you have a dream of being somewhere permanent once you find that spot?
Yes and no. I like the idea of uh, peace in an environment that I can turn to and return to. It's like meditation, I guess, for me. Like when I feel ungrounded, I have practices that I can turn to, go back to feel peace. And home is a very, very easy way to build a practice that you can turn to really at any time. You know, with the layout, the way you do your yard or the inside or the furniture you have or the amenities you have, you know where everything is, right? So like that aspect of it, I value a lot. But I don't want to just have a home. I mean, we have houses actually that
Right.
we could go live in right now, you know, but
Right.
we
Right.
just don't want a house. And we uh I guess the best way to put it is we've tried moving around a lot to different houses and different environments and nothing has clicked yet, you know? So
That's yeah.
our journey now is let's focus on us
Hmm.
outside of the home. Let's make sure that we're comfortable where we're at, that we're not needing to be dependent on anything out there. House, items, jobs, people, medicine, whatever. Right? Let's get here taken care of first. When we feel comfortable where we're at, then then we won't be as frantic, feeling like the grass is greener type idea where we have to go find the next thing because the reality that's been where I've been at most of my adult life, you know, and then as I've started to transition more into peace, my wife has kind of swapped. So now we're both on this journey together and we'll see where it leads.
Well, and this is the way that I'm kind of understanding your process right now is when you're a single man and you're out looking for a woman, you don't find love, but when you're not looking for it is when it just pops up.
Yeah. Well, that said, tell me about your love story.
Well,
How's that
well,
transformed?
uh, um, there's in so many ways. Uh, it's hard to describe, but
And you don't have to if this isn't the right setting for
yeah,
it.
no, I just don't know what to say right now about that. I guess what I will say is I I've just never been so happy. It's very strange. It's a very strange feeling. Um, and I talked a little bit about I shared it on the WhatsApp this morning about listening to that inner voice,
Hmm.
and that the inner voice has been so pivotal for me since Costa Rica. I used to talk to myself all the time. Like if I was in like standing in an aisle at Walmart, I'd be talking out loud like my next move. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next aisle, and I remember like not being too aware of talking to myself in public, and then people would look at me, and then I would be self conscious about it.
Hmm.
Uh, so then I would just never. I would try to never talk to myself, and then I would definitely not listen to what I'm saying. And when the ayahuasca thing happened, I had the realization, and ever since then, it's became abundantly clear that the voice inside of me is is God talking to me,
Mm.
and I need to listen because it's my guide. That's my guide. And my decisions have not become more impulsive, but more reassuring. They're quick, but they're also very for sure decisions. There's not a lot of hesitation when it comes to any kind of daily obstacle. Okay, this is what my heart is telling me to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to proceed with that decision.
Hmm.
Even as simple as I just recently actually I used to have this giant spider web of conspiracy theories, of one conspiracy theory linking to another, and
Hmm.
it's a massive poster. And I've been balls deep in conspiracy theories for way too long throughout my 20s. And I had it hanging in my room. Like that was the only poster in my bedroom was that stupid poster. And this was actually just last week. I looked behind me and I was like, you know what? No. And I took it down and I threw it in the garbage.
Wow.
And I hung up. Actually, what I hung up was the cover of Kim Stangwood's book, The Power of Intention. And then right below it, I um, hung up a picture of Jesus Christ. So
Mm.
it's like connected. And
Yeah.
I put that above, like right above where I sleep. But I was thinking that was above my head where I sleep for how many years?
Yeah.
That stupid poster, that poster of negative energy, that poster that was part of a previous life of mine that was riddled with substances.
Yeah.
And you know what else is kind of, I
Well,
would say,
substances and assumption,
yeah,
that leads to paranoia.
yeah,
And that's a dangerous environment to live in.
I was very paranoid.
Hmm.
The other thing I was going to say about the old life into the new life of cleansing and just new things in my life, and disregarding things that were in my previous life, disposing of them just because they carry that weight of the energy that I was creating. Do you remember my phone breaking
Hmm.
in Costa Rica?
Hmm.
I showed up to Costa Rica with a porn addiction. All the porn was on that phone. When I came
Mm.
back from Costa Rica, I got a new phone that never had any porn on it.
Mm.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
That's just like another one of those things. And I I constantly have these revisitations of what happened in Costa Rica still to what's happening now, and I just still feel so plugged in that way.
Yeah. Do you think you'll go back?
Yes, actually, I wanted to talk to you about something. We can talk about it here on the show if you want. I wanted to get your idea on potentially doing like a 10-day documentary style um, visit to the jungle in Peru.
Ooh.
And there's connected with a guide. I'll talk more about this offline, but I've connected with a guide that would bring us through some native tribes, do the medicine and kind of, publicize a little bit more the process and the healing that takes place in the jungle. And
Intimate.
I, if we, brought some cameras along, I've already kind of talked about this, and maybe some drone footage, put together maybe like a 4-part series for the YouTube channel of, our time in Peru.
That would be so fun.
Yeah,
Medicine or not,
right.
like that would be awesome. Yeah, let's definitely talk about that
Okay.
more offline for sure. I am doing something called a Vipassana. Have you ever heard of that?
I haven't heard of the Pasana.
Vipassana, I think it's technically a breathing technique or a meditation technique. I'm not sure, but it's like an- some sort of ancient Indian technique where you combine silence and stillness and breathing for an extended period of time, to get to know yourself better. So, long story short, the what I call it is a silent retreat for 10 days, October 1st through 10th. I'm gonna go to, it's actually free. It's an organization called Dhamma, and they have one, Dhamma, I think. They have one in Idaho, which is like an hour from me, where I go spend 10 days there, sleep on the floor, I think we get one meal a day from like 4:30 a.m. till 9 or 10 p.m. We just meditate and we don't talk to anyone the whole time for 10 days. You're just with yourself. Oh, I lost you. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
Wow. That would be so hard for me.
Me too.
That would be so difficult.
hmm
How'd you find that?
It's been calling to me for a little bit, but I had a friend when we were living in Greece last year who had done a Vipassana, and he recommended it to me, and it wasn't calling to me at the time, but it stuck with me,
Okay.
you know. And now I
Yeah.
think I'm ready for it. I've been, I feel more ready since doing peyote, kind of that groundedness
Mhm.
that come. And honestly, the last what was it like 2.5 months ago? It's kind of been a roller coaster for me on on groundedness because I would get to this place of presence and I would feel really, really peaceful. But then I would start to get restless because I would come out of meditation or out of yoga or out of breath work and I'd feel grounded, but I didn't have anywhere to really take that groundedness. I would just like go to twiddle my thumbs, or I'd go on a walk or I'd go on a hike. And it's like, okay, I either need to do one of two things. I need to go like live in the mountains of Himalayas where there is nothing else to do except just be by yourself, or I need to find something that can give me some sort of purpose, some sort of fulfillment. And I've been thinking a lot about that, but I don't want to be like a dog chasing a bone. So I've just been starting to ask myself, what is fulfillment for me,
Yeah.
right? Presence is part of it. That feeling of peace, of being hyper aware of just the current moment, no past, no future, no anxiety, no anger, just acceptance of where I'm at. But also, I've been lacking the intention of where to take that. It's kind of like a fire, I have like this ember within me that's burning, but I don't have anything to feed into it to kind of create this flame and this spark in my life, and that to me is fulfillment.
Right.
When I have that lasting fire, not just an ember. And I've been thinking, man, I need fuel. I need fuel. So like this, when you bring up Peru, I'm like that is fuel for me.
That is fun.
I love traveling. I love doing things with a purpose, with intention
Yeah.
to give me that spark that I can take further in my life. So that's but what's been on my mind, at least the last couple of days, is kind of this formula of presence plus intention equals fulfillment and trying to figure out for me what that means.
Maybe that's the reason why I texted you on Friday, and because I've been thinking about this idea for weeks,
Mm,
and I've been doing a lot of research on how I can produce it with quality.
hmm
So that's cool. And you are the person that came to the top of my mind immediately.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd love to go. Like I've never been to Peru though, but I'm very familiar with like off the grid living and
That's where I'm gonna need you. That's why I was
languages,
thinking about you.
stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. I'm going into this completely raw because
Yeah,
uh, it's
that's
just
awesome.
it's not usually my thing, but I'm feeling this calling when we're talking about callings and the fuel, the fire inside of us. I'm feeling this calling to really put myself outside my comfort zone and to do something that is going to make at times going to make me miserable, but when I get done I can say I did it,
Yes.
and it's that accomplishment.
Yes. Sorry, I'm gonna close the window.
No, that's okay. I'll continue talking if you can hear me still. um you know Another thing that is similar to that I'm contemplating in my mind right now is um I've now begun running. All the hiking and walking I've been doing is now starting to turn into running.
Nice.
And like last week I ran roughly about 27, 28 miles.
Nice.
And
That's
I want to
great.
I want to do like 25 to 30 a week right now. But a friend had ironically sent me a message not knowing that I've been doing this, and he said, "Do you want to do a marathon next spring?" and I actually have degenerative knees. So both of my
Hmm.
knees have a cartilage issue, like an arthritis, basically.
Hmm.
And it's something that has weighed me down for a long time. I had surgery in one of the knees when I was in my teens. So usually when I run, I'll run on like a dirt trail instead of concrete.
Hmm.
But at the same time, and I told him, I said, let me think about it a little bit. And then I kind of started running a little bit. I'm like, wow, I'm really enjoying this. And I think maybe the last time we talked, I had maybe mentioned a runner's high. That was like kind of the first time that I experienced it. Well, now I'm getting that constant hit, which is it's uh it's something really special. Anyway,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm I'm half and half right now on a marathon. But a week ago I was like 25:75. But I can go about 7 miles now without stopping at a pretty good pace. So
Hmm.
um,
I'm an
it
advocate of jumping into things that don't uh, become your identity. Like it's one thing to be like, well, should I start this business or buy this business or whatever? Like that's kind of an identity uh thing where when it comes up in conversation, what do you do? Right? Like this is a big part of where I put my time. This is a big part of stuff like that, where a marathon, it doesn't need to be any part of your identity. Meaning, like if you tell people you're going to do it or you're training for it and you decide not to do it, it's not going to hurt your life.
yeah.
So like you buy a business and you walk away from it, you still might have payments or obligations, or like it could really, really hurt you and your family. So I would say go ahead and sign up. What is it, a couple $100? You
Well,
decide
the thing
beforehand
the thing
you're
is,
not going to
Tyler,
do it.
is if I sign up, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Um, because that's another thing is I used to quit a lot of things. I don't quit things anymore.
Yeah.
So I still have to think about it because I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. If my name is on paper, I'm
Mm.
going to do it at 100%.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Plan, but be ready to pivot. That's my philosophy.
yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
If your leg's broken, you're not going to do it. Period. Right? Like, but you don't know how your knees are going to respond with that level of training until you do it.
And maybe I'll do the training, and then if I'm feeling good,
Mm.
I'll sign.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. That's a good plan too.
Yeah, yeah, I
Great.
like that plan.
Talking
Um,
of that voice in your head, I want to go back to that. Have you read do you know who Michael Singer is?
the name sounds familiar.
He's written a couple books I really like. One is called The Untethered Soul, and then another one is The Surrender Experiment.
Okay.
He talks specifically about the voice in your head. So just you bringing it up, it might be an interesting read for you to get his take on it because the whole premise is about that voice,
And this is Michael Singer,
Michael Singer.
Singer.
Hmm.
What's the name of the
Another
book?
book that might be interesting is Green Lights. I think I mentioned it on a previous call. Matthew McConaughey wrote that, and he had a couple moments in his life where he was just called to go. He actually had a dream about going to, maybe it was Peru. No, yeah, I don't know where it was. I think it was somewhere in the Amazon, and then
What's the
another
Amazon?
place in Africa. Have you read that book?
No, I haven't.
And he's just like, he had this dream and he kept putting it off and kept putting it off. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna do this. Like, it's calling to me. I'm gonna go for it. And he had like life-changing experiences in both places. So this Peru thing may be something similar for you.
The Amazon, there's something about it. Did you know the Amazon's man-made?
Really?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
River?
I think the river there is natural, but I'm talking about all the agriculture that's overgrown.
Okay.
Yeah. So what they found with some sort of lidar scans was imprints of previous civilizations that had lived there, and
Hmm.
they had done something with the soil in the Amazon that creates massive growth that even today we can't figure out.
Interesting.
Yeah, and what's even more crazy about the whole story is the European settlers are the ones that kind of ended that whole civilization. They brought their sickness over from Europe, killed everybody in the civilization, and then that's became ended up becoming the Amazon, where you had all that agriculture that overgrew.
Interesting, dude. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you like living in modern society, like in the US with all the technology and everything you have, or would you rather live in an area that's more primitive but more connected?
Um, well, I would say if I was living, what makes that question really difficult is if I was living in a primitive time, would I know what this life is like?
Yeah, not time, just place.
Oh, a
And
primitive place. Okay, so
yeah,
you're saying in the next, let's say in the next 5 years, I end up moving to a primitive place. That's what you're asking.
yeah. What lifestyle do you like more?
Okay, that's a really good question. So I would say because I have children right now. Let's Is this maybe without children? Should we do this
Yeah,
hypothetically?
well, let's do it hypothetically.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not overanalyze it. Yeah, just
Okay.
curious
All right.
where your heart would be.
Okay. I'm done analyzing. All right. So free Jesse.
What does your
Uh,
voice in your head say?
the voice in my head says to live in a van and drive all over the states.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah, that's what the voice in my head says. And the voice in my head also says when you get older, have a very simple lifestyle, simple home. You've got four plates, four bowls, four cups. You've got a couple cast iron pans. You don't have possessions. You just everything's simple. That's the voice in my head. It is a very simplistic life is what I'm striving for eventually. Something even very modest. Also, as far as a house goes, like if I'm on my own, it's like a little one bedroom, one bathroom, 450 square foot little hut thing. I'm good.
Hmm. All right, let's bring kids into the equation.
Yeah. Right now, the path that I'm on, there's something still calling me to South America, and when they're old enough, I'm gonna go for a while, and I hope it doesn't impact them too much. And maybe I'm speaking selfishly, but there's still ways to stay in touch as technology continues to modernize.
Oh
Um,
yeah, definitely.
I have this dream of just freelancing. Podcast can be mobile.
Excuse me.
Uh, if as a business begin making content of traveling to places like Peru and whatnot, like that's kind of ideal. Is like I can just kind of carry my work with me. If
Hmm.
if I'm somewhere planted here in the States, I love the idea of buying a warehouse and kind of redoing a warehouse that I can live in, but also carry a logistics business out of. So that
Hmm.
like it's again, I guess it kind of goes back to that whole simple idea, like it's all in one place, and I can literally crawl out of bed, walk over across the living room, go down some stairs, pack something up, ship it off, go back upstairs and do whatever, or continue. Just again, all in one place. Like that's the thought. It's a little scrambled still, but
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I have been thinking also about what are my must-haves because I don't know what the exact thing is that's my future. And when I put myself there without knowing and I try to formulate it and bring it to the present, it just makes me anxious, you know? But at the same time, I don't want to have a lifestyle of avoidance. It's kind of like the concept of the secret, like what you think about, you attract, but it's a little bit deeper than just thinking. There's this paradox that happens where you don't want to live in the future and you need to be in the present, but as you live in the present, the future comes to you, or you walk to the future. But for me, I have a few must-haves. Like for me, one thing that's really important is whatever I do, I need it to be location independent. I also need it to be fulfilling when I'm bored. There are a lot of times I have half hour to 2 hours a day between events where I've already done my meditation, my yoga, my breath work, maybe gone on a hike, right? And then I'm like, okay, now what? I'm just twiddling my thumbs, right? And those are hard moments for me. I get restless, and I need something in my life where I can dive in and come out quickly. It doesn't require 8 hours every single day or anything like that. I also need something that's time independent, or at least I have control of the time. Like last year, for example, I had when I've changed my consulting company quite a bit, but last year it was really much back-to-back Zoom meetings every day for 4 or 5 hours. And it just drained me. I'm like, man, I have no control of my time. I can schedule them, but then I'm hooked to them. Another one for me is I need something that's like momentum building, where it's not I go sell something and then I fulfill it, and then at the end of the day, I'm back at square one, you know,
Like a
like a
cycle, right?
yeah, I need something like a flywheel. I also, and this is something that was actually hard for me to admit, but I need something where I can be rewarded for my effort, either with money or uh, portfolio building or just even appreciation. There have been a lot of time, and the reason I that's so important for me is it helps me step into my power. There have been times I've agreed to do something on a contingency basis where I'm working for free with the hope of getting something, and it's sometimes it's not even contingent. It's just I'm going to do it and I hope I get something through my efforts. And then I end up leaving because I'm burnt out and I didn't receive any appreciation and I didn't receive any money. And I realized the reason I do that to myself is because I lack my own confidence, or I want something so badly, but I haven't proven myself yet. So I say I'm going to prove myself first. And it may be ego and it may die out eventually, but for now, that is important to me. And then another one is I also need something that I'm not always having to tend on my own. It's not something that's so niche or so specific that it always depends on Tyler. If I'm sick or I'm traveling or I'm off the grid or something like that, I don't want something that's just going to fizzle out or burn out
Right.
because it needs me. So those are some must-haves that I have. What about you?
A must have for me is like you being able to set my own time. And when for me personally, when I'm able to set my own time, I can work more free and I'm more productive. Um, Another must have for me personally is I want to invest my time into something that becomes an asset that's worth something. For
Yeah, impact.
so many years throughout my 20s, I spent so many hours working for somebody else and I made decent money, but I think about how damn good I was at what I was doing and how damn good I could have been selling myself rather than
Hmm.
selling some fucking jewelry.
Yep.
Now, what I will say is I didn't really go to college, so that was kind of like my college in a way. It, taught me how to run a business. It taught me how to understand a P&L. There were basic business practices that I was taught in that role that were very valuable. It's not like some 23-year-old kid can just, you know, go start a business without any sort of prior knowledge of what he's even starting a business on. So in that regard, I'm glad that I did it, but I'm now seeing the clarity that I'm understanding my passion now and understanding what makes me happy, and I also understand a lot of different business ethics and how to accomplish things. So you know just overall being my own boss is one of the most important things to me. Me and my it's almost like a TV show at the warehouse with my business partner. Like we have a lot of good times, and we'll go. we'll go pick vintage items at estate sales, and it almost feels like, have you ever watched Pawn Stars, even an episode?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of when you were talking.
You know how the guys go back and forth, like, you're not going to sell that, and it's like, oh, I'll prove it to you, I'll sell that, and
Uh,
it's like that kind of game together.
yeah,
And it's just a lot of fun. And I'm learning other skills also, because we refinish furniture, wood furniture, and I'm
that's cool.
learning how to refinish wood, which is, I think, a skill.
Yeah.
So there's overall, I just feel so free, and that's what I value most, is freedom. That's what I'm chasing, is freedom.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to articulate. It's good to know about yourself.
Another thing that I learned about myself recently is I've always been, I would say, an outcast in a lot of circles throughout school. And, back when I had a girlfriend in high school, I had oftentimes run into the problem of, like, when you meet their friends, you just don't click because you just feel like you're on the outside looking in.
Yeah,
And,
totally. I
and
feel that a lot in life.
yeah. And then it causes, it just, people think that you're standoffish, or that you're, um, you know, snobby or stuck up or arrogant. It's like, no, I have this, I guess, this social anxiety of meeting new people and fitting in. But here's the thing. This is what makes outcasts great, is once you learn why you're an outcast, you can embrace it, and you can bloom into this beautiful flower.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm learning right now, is I'm learning to embrace that I've always been kind of on the outside looking in, and I actually am really glad that I've gone through what I've gone through for that reason, because it's now shaping me into the father and the man that I am.
Hmm. Yeah, do you think it's outcast or do you think it's more just being comfortable with yourself? Because when I think of an outcast, and it could be an outcast, right? But when I think of an outcast, I think it's where other people don't want someone around them, but the person who that person who is not wanted around, they need that, right? And it's this, I need friends, but friends don't want me,
Right.
right? Where a hermit is, and that might be the wrong word too, just someone who's okay living in solitude, is the friends want them, but they don't need the friends, right? And then there's that blend in the middle where the friends want them and they want the friends. So where do you fit?
I always wanted to be cool. I always
Mm,
wanted to fit in, and I never did. And um, I would say things to appear as cool that weren't true. I would lie. I would, be like, "Oh, I smoked weed this weekend," and I never smoked weed. I didn't smoke weed until I was like 18 years old. But I thought doing drugs was cool, so I said it. And lo and behold, I ended up having a fucking drug problem.
yeah.
So uh, I I I just always felt the need to, like, I wanted to fit in, and I something that made it very difficult to fit in was, uh, I
And
went
do
to
you
a
feel you
private
weren't? Right.
I, I went to a private school first through eighth grade, and then after that, and those were small classes. After that, I went to a public school for high school, and I didn't know anybody. And I ended up missing orientation because I had to have an appendectomy in, like, my first week of school. So I never knew anybody. And it was just kind of like an uphill battle from then. And I was already kind of like a shy, just not sure of myself person at that time. I was
Hmm.
14,
Yeah, that does kind of sound like outcast,
Yeah,
or at
it
least
is, but
extreme introvert.
yeah,
I don't know if what you're saying means that the friends you wanted didn't want you, and maybe you just didn't know how to put yourself out there to be accepted by the friends that would
I
accept
think
you.
I think
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, which is fine. You
interesting.
know, it is what it is. That's cool. I'm glad,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm glad it happened.
Hmm.
All of it. So, but the kind of irony with it all is, I lie about doing drugs, and then I end up having drug because I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
So now I'm telling myself I'm gonna be free when I'm older. I'm gonna be free.
Hmm.
I mean, I just I I'm trying to speak that into existence, and I think it's happening. I feel like I'm on a really good path.
Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What else is on your mind?
Uh, you know, I've been kind of going through, and this kind of might have something to do with, some other factors going on in my life. But my overthinking is at an all-time high, and it's not an anxious overthinking, but it's a constant evaluation throughout the day of like the way that I'm acting or the way that I'm communicating, the way that I'm presenting myself. Um, there's like two different, I'm not going to say a devil and an angel because it's not negative or positive, but there's two different voices sometimes on each shoulder of me debating if what I said was the right thing to say. Did I address that correctly? A lot of overthinking. So I actually just recently, as of like a week and a half ago, and it's been helping a lot, is I've been doing a ton of journaling, a ton of journaling. And it actually has been helping a lot because after I journal, I get really good workouts in,
Hmm.
like incredible workouts, almost like euphoric workouts. And I've just never been this sensitive to anything, period. I was always numb. So it's a process, I guess, that I'm currently inhibiting that I'm learning how to deal with. I don't
Yeah, journaling is super valuable. I mean, really, you're talking about the concept of how do I still my mind,
yeah.
right? And the mind doesn't ever stop. It just doesn't. Thoughts, it's designed to work. It's like you set up a really, really, really fancy computer with as soon as you turn it on, all of the programs are up and running, and that is your mind, right? Now you can get to the point where you're shutting down a lot of the programs, but I haven't met anyone personally that's been able to shut down all of the programs. I've met people who have been really good at stilling the mind and letting the mind work, but they're not giving attention to it, or it's not taking any energy from them. And that's where like meditation comes in, or breath work is really good because it focuses the mind on one thing that is calming. And that's why exercise is good because it focuses the mind on one thing, right? So you can't overanalyze when you're in an intense workout. You can't overanalyze when you are doing really good breath work, stuff like that. Or you can't overanalyze when you're in journaling, especially if it's like vocal journaling, or you're writing, something tactile. And the and it's fresh, it's not like a prayer where you're repeating the same thing. Like you actually have to be creative in what you're getting out. That's why a lot of people paint. That's why a lot of people do those things that they get in a flow, but it's new. It stills the mind. So just keep I don't know why I'm saying this, but if I'm going to say anything, just keep that in mind. What are my practices? And here's the thing, there isn't one practice that works for everything. There are, I'm a huge advocate of the method doesn't matter. There are infinite number of methods that you can use to become present. Stop the overanalyzing, stop thinking about the past, stop analyzing the future, stop wondering about your identity or if you're wearing the right mask or if you're a chameleon in the right way, right? Like all of these things, but become aware of in the moment when you're doing it and then start to think about, and this is actually a stillness practice, become aware and ask yourself, next time I'm in this environment, what is a practice that I can do for this type of thing? And you'll find practices that work when you're irritated with your kids. You'll find practices that work when you're over analyzing what you said, past conversations. That's a big one for a lot of people, myself included. When you're thinking about your future or about trying to progress a business or money or anything like that, those all require different practices. Meditation for me is simply a grounding practice. Meditation for me doesn't work when I'm irritated with my kids.
Right.
Like it just doesn't. I have practices that need to be a lot faster, instantaneous. I don't need to go away. I don't need to go to a room. I don't need to close my eyes that I use for that moment. So anyway, just some thoughts if they're helpful.
And if the meditation is should be then part of your daily routine before you start your day.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a
Right.
morning practice,
Right.
not an evening practice. Although sometimes I do it in the evening if I'm restless.
Okay.
hmm
And
But dancing is more common for me in the evening.
dancing.
hmm
You know what I like doing? I
Tell
like
me,
I like I like rapping.
smoking weed and journaling,
I like rapping.
rapping. Ooh, nice, dude.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I pull up different rap songs, pull up the lyrics to them, and just it calms me. I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Sometimes I'll pull out the guitar
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
drum.
That frequency, right?
Mhm.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind how, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, how sensitive I am to everything now. Because when I was in the midst, in within the grips of hard drugs, I didn't feel anything.
Mm,
Period. And this was for like 14 years. And this is the first time that I'm feeling things.
mm,
And that's kind of also part of, I think, like the overthinking is like this is the first time in my life where I can just feel others' energies when they're talking to me. I'm more conscious about maybe how others are feeling now, and it's a total mind fuck for me.
yeah, and it's amazing that you're still there. I've actually been drifting
Yeah,
the last couple of months,
sure.
and it's so tempting to become frantic and turn to more medicine or like, I got to go back to rhythmia right now, right? But as I've studied it, it's like, oh, what's it called? Um, hmm, well, I actually need to Google this.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead.
Something of the, oh, Dark Night of the Soul. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh my God, Tyler.
So like I
Did you see the
feel,
episode of me talking to my higher self a couple episodes ago?
no,
We
send it
talked
to me.
we
I
talked
never
about
saw that one come through.
okay, that we talked about Dark Night of the Soul.
Oh,
Like
I
literally
feel
last
like
week.
I'm there right
Right
now.
now, you feel like you're
Yeah.
there.
And I'm doing my best just to be present through it
Sure.
because it's a very scary place for me
Yeah.
to feel peace and contentedness with
Right.
the disconnect
Right.
of energy, with the disconnect of community, with the lack of desire to connect with other people, including myself, and the lack of connection with my chakras, if you can say that, the energy
Yeah.
that I know is flowing in me, but I'm not feeling it as strongly and sometimes never. And just having the hope that as I continue working on me and my practices, it will come through. It's a super frantic feeling that I felt a lot in
Yeah.
the last month. The good thing is I'm not as frantic now because I've come to peace with it in a way. But
Sure.
if you would have talked to me maybe a month ago, I was like super sad, super sad. I was like, what's going on? What did I do wrong? What is wrong with me? You know?
Yeah. Do you think I think I've asked you this before, but do you feel like there's still like that lack of faith? Is that some of the fulfillment that
I
you
don't think
feel?
so. I read a book. I actually just finished it a couple days ago, Autobiography of a Yogi
Okay,
by Paramahansa Yogananda.
right,
He's like, yeah, he basically brought yoga to the West. Um, and it's a story of his belief in energy, essentially. And I resonated with a lot of it. I didn't resonate as much as a lot of people that I know that have read it. For me, it was like, oh, that's a good book, you know. But I feel like my belief is strong, but I feel like I'm in the point in my life, and especially in my journey, where my intention is self-realization. I truly want to know myself. And I don't say that from I think I don't say that from like an egotistical way where it's like I have desires to read the future or like control energy or channel or anything like that. I truly just want to realize myself, truly. And I feel like I'm in the stage where I am realizing how pointless my life truly is and the pointlessness of humanity and the how much my ego wants to attach to my importance in life and all of these things. It's just a dark place. It's a dark place of learning and importance. But without the answers that come after that that have not come yet, you feel stuck there. And that's I feel stuck, but I'm learning. Like just the last couple days, I'm learning about, presence and intention and fulfillment, right? And I'm thinking about it in a new way because I've been in such a dark place.
sure.
And things are resonating with me that I've maybe heard or maybe thought about, but I haven't been able to accept.
Do
So
do you believe that our souls bounce around to other realms after
I don't
after
know.
after time on Earth with this current soul? Because when you say you didn't, and I might be misquoting you because I was trying to memorize it, but that you didn't feel like you have purpose, or after everything you've done, right? What And this is coming from my brother actually just recently said this to me, is like our time on Earth in these bodies is only a couple hours relative to different realms that maybe years. You talk about people that maybe got like blacked out or choked out, and they tell stories about living like months, like 6 month lives, and having a girlfriend and all this stuff, and they wake up and it was only 10 seconds.
Hmm.
This time in our bodies with this soul is the test from the previous realm. How are we gonna how this is these are like the predetermined, um they talk about the generational trauma, like these things that pass down, but it's for whatever reason it was is our souls from those other realms, we're given like these little hints, and this might be why we feel certain ways, and we have to kind of navigate and find out what our purpose truly is, because there is a
Yeah,
purpose for all of this. There's
yeah,
100%. But I think what I'm trying to say is this time, even though it might not feel like to you that you don't have a purpose, this is some sort of test. 100%. And I think
maybe,
I
maybe
think
is the reality of it. And I think that's an important distinction of where I'm at right now.
right.
Is everything that I've been certain of, and I would attach belief with certainty, truly. If I believe something, especially if I believed it strongly, I was certain of it. Where ego dissolution is where the certainty becomes detached from my belief. It doesn't mean I don't believe, but I
Right.
have to remove the certainty and claim of truth behind it. And
Yeah.
that's the reality of where I'm at right now is most things that I have believed and currently believe in, I have no idea if it's true. No idea. And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean I don't believe it, but I have to be honest with myself,
Yeah.
right? And that gives you a sense of pointlessness. But that said, I would rather believe than doubt because certainty becomes coupled with something, right? Like you can doubt something and still have it be true. You can believe something and still have it be true. You can doubt something and have it not be true. You can believe in something and have it not be true, right? And it's the knowing doesn't come from the doubt or the belief. The knowing will come when it comes. And we have no idea when that timeline is. We
Right.
have no idea when it will, and we have no idea what it is. That's the reality, right? All we have control of is whether we choose to believe or doubt,
Yep.
you know? But there is a sadness of, oh, I choose to believe, but I'm still not certain, but I choose to believe anyway. Like that's a harder practice
Yeah.
than, oh, I choose to believe, and because I believe, it means it's true, and I'm going to hold to that truth. That's an easier way to live.
Yeah. Well, with with that belief, and we hope that, if you have a belief, you're more than not gonna hope that it's real, because
Totally.
you
Hmm.
want you want to be right.
Hmm. Or you hypothesize, right?
Correct.
And you
Just like,
take a scientific, it doesn't matter, right? The
yeah,
method doesn't matter. But
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
everyone
You'd
has,
rather feel peaceful and present and hopeful than
yeah,
doubt, paranoid, and anxious and depressed.
yeah. But what you're
Totally.
saying makes sense because you're based in reality.
Hmm.
And that, you asked me about the primitive lifestyle compared to the modern lifestyle. We have so much access to information at this time in our lives
Hmm.
that it's 100% normal for you to and me to think, well, that might not be reality, because we've seen so many, I would say, thought-provoking things in the world since social media has arrived roughly about 10 years ago. Stuff that Topics that we wouldn't even dream of talking about are talked about now.
Hmm.
And a lot of things have been exposed, and everything that we were taught was a lie. In a lot of ways, a lot of things were.
Hmm.
And that's a mind fuck. So it's, I think, more common than ever to not, to have that thought that you're talking about, is that's not reality. But what's funny about reality is what you perceive it to be.
Exactly. Life is an illusion,
Mm-hmm.
right? Perception is an illusion.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself can be sad, right? But you can also find joy in the illusion and create your own reality out of the illusion. It's a much probably deeper rabbit hole than this conversation. And the whole thing is everything that I talk about within that realm, I have no claim of truth behind. The only thing I can claim as truth is my now. And even then, it's my perception that drives my presence. And that is an illusion. It's a crazy thing, but I believe in my consciousness to the point where that's probably the only thing that I can claim as truth, even if it's not. Even if I am being controlled by some God who's really on the other side of some screen playing a video game, which is my life, right? That feels like me. I'm like some AI person in this video game, right? Like that may be the reality. Who knows,
It
right?
could.
And we can go
It really could.
on and on and on. And that's where I think when I hear conspiracy,
Mhm.
I don't get triggered, but I don't like dive into it because this is what conspiracy feels like to me. Is like the unknowing of something that you can justify to be believed as truth very, very firmly based on assumption that can never be proven, or it can be proven in some regards, but not all regards. It's a very interesting place, and I'm stuck there, right? I'm stuck there, but I'm just doing my best to filter through all of it,
Yeah.
let it all go, not claim any of it as truth, and come out the other side, hopefully realizing more about me. Not about humanity, not about space, not about the purpose of life, any of that. I just want to know me. So that's where I'm at.
I think this next stage in life for you is going to be helpful with what we were talking about, not really having much of a plan. It's just kind of where the wind takes us, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. I I'm excited for you for that.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I'm excited to go do something really cool together, like Peru. That would be so awesome.
It would be. It would be.
Yeah, let's discuss and
Okay.
figure out how and when.
I love it. I love it.
Any other thoughts you had? I talked a lot the last 10 minutes.
No, no, your perspective is so the way that you present your perspective is just so intelligent and so well articulated. So I am told you this before, but I'm so grateful for you and I appreciate you in every way. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, dude. And same with you. Like for you, it's your spirit that I feel very genuine, very real, authentic, and I feel desire from you for yourself and for others to progress, and that's contagious, right? And it's something that I need in life, and so I appreciate that as well.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, we'll have to
Cool.
do this again soon.
Sounds good. All right, we'll chat later.